As a small business owner, you deserve more. More confidence, more connectivity, more of the tools that help your business thrive. And at Cox Business, you can expect more from us. We don't just have sales reps. We have perfect plan identifiers. People who will work with you to make sure your business gets everything it needs and nothing that it doesn't. Your business deserves more, and that's why you can expect more from Cox Business. Call 800-526-8572 to switch today.
There's nothing more predictable in life than the unexpected. Lightning will always strike. Hail will fall on roofs. Fortunately, there's AAA. AAA has been helping members stay prepared for over 100 years. So when unusual storms, fallen debris, or sudden leaks happen, you'll be covered. Check, check, and check. Get the home and auto insurance you need by talking with a AAA insurance agent today. Visit AAA.com/insurance or stop by your local AAA store.
If you prefer real mornings, shouldn't you have a real breakfast? At McDonald's, we get real about breakfast. That's why you can have a savory sausage biscuit with delicious hash browns for only $1.50. It's time to wake up breakfast. Single item at regular price. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Thoughts of suicide may feel impossible to overcome. But with help and support, you can find hope and meaning. Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK to speak to a counselor, or visit suicidepreventionlifeline.org. It's free, it's confidential, it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And even if it feels like it, you're not alone.
Because that's kind of our brand, isn't it?
That is our brand. We're like a weird Regis and Kelly or Kathy, or we're just weird.
Yeah, whatever. I'm too old to be Kelly. I'm too young to be Kathy. So Kelly, I don't know.
Construct anyway, from what I understand.
I don't know.
It's been another 2 weeks and/or 11 Corona months since we last had an episode. Yep. What's new in your life? What are you doing? Are we still painting rocks?
Yeah, I am. And not only that, I went down to my folks this past weekend. My nieces were visiting from Northern Virginia, and they heard that I was doing this, so they wanted to get into it. And I ended up buying them a bag of rocks and paint and paintbrushes, and they have been entertained. My parents have absolutely loved it because the pressure to entertain them is off of them. So, but now they want to take all these rocks bags, with them. And I'm like, I don't think that, that's going to weigh down your luggage. So just take like 2 or 3, and then the rest I'll mail later. And so that was the compromise. But, I'm still doing that.
Probably be curious of what you're doing with rocks.
My dad thought I was nuts, but then he saw the American flag I did for my brother-in-law, and now he wants one for the garden. So it's kind of taking off. I don't know. My family's not getting into it, but they don't have to do it. Only I do it. But they get to reap the rewards. See how it works?
Reap the rewards of you painting rocks. You know, you did actually have one that captured my my little navy heart a little bit. You had a nice little moon and a sun kind of a thing, almost like a compass rose.
Yes.
It was super.
Yes. Good. That was really cool. I saw that on a Pinterest search, and I just looked at it and I said, I could do that. That's simple. I could do that. Yeah, it was simple, but I mean, it was like painstaking because you had to like dot the color in, you know, and everything to make it all pretty. Thank you, one. Okay.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's what's that. So, we haven't really had anything fun or whimsical in the news. Everything's been typical shit show for 2020. Yay, 2020.
Yeah. I think it was last week or the week before we heard that the guy that played Eddie Haskel on Leave It to Beaver passed away, Ken Osmond. And I wasn't as bereaved as when Barbara Billingsley died. When she passed away, I was like really upset because I channel June Cleaver. I even dressed up as June Cleaver for one Halloween. And so she is the embodiment of the 50s housewife that I really like to emulate, you know. So when she passed away, I was like, and let's not forget her turn on Airplane. I mean, that was just beyond classic.
Since you were June Cleaver, I guess that explains why you're always saying "Take it easy on the Beav." Right? It makes sense now. At first, I was a little confused by all this. So, mystery had a little bit of light shed on it tonight.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And that's all I'll say about that.
So, yeah, he did pass away, and that's a super bummer. But what I think is amazing is that he had an illustrious career as a police officer.
Yeah, he did. I want to say it was like 18, 19 years, something like that, that he served with the LA Police Department, I believe. And it was, a lot of people, you know, you think of a child actor and you wonder what they end up doing for the rest of their life, you know, when they leave acting. He didn't actually leave acting after Leave It to Beaver. He kept acting for a while, and then he just said, you know, this is just not for me, and went on to become a cop. So it was, and you know, and he was in action. You know, I mean, he was shot at. I believe he was shot once, but the bulletproof vest saved his life. So it wasn't like he was behind the desk or anything. He was actually out there doing the hard stuff.
I'm actually looking up right now on his police career, see if I can find some highlights. When he passed away, it actually got some attention from. There's several accounts that will honor slain fallen servicemen, and I want to say it was one of those accounts. But do you know Terry Shepard?
Yes.
Terry Shepard, great guy. You know, he's always about the rescuing of the dogs, and he's a former Special Forces operator. And he had highlighted some of Ken Osmond's police career. And from what it looks like, he worked as a motorcycle officer. He was struck by 5 bullets while on a foot chase by the suspected car thief, apparently, according to this.
That's amazing.
I mean, come on. Eddie Haskel gets shot 5 times. He's like the Terminator, still going after this guy.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I'm always surprised when, like I said, people quit acting and go on to do something else. For me, one of the most surprising ones was the Charlie from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That was his sole movie.
Really?
And he's actually a very well-established, I want to say he's now retired, but he became a vet out in Connecticut somewhere. That's what he ended up doing.
Well, a veterinarian?
Yes.
In Connecticut?
Charlie Ostrom became a veterinarian.
Well, I'm glad that he made it out of his grandparents' large bed.
Yeah, finally.
Which still kind of bothers me when I think about it. Looking back on the movie, everybody's in the same bed, nobody's doing shit, nobody's getting out of bed. I mean, what is going on in there? They didn't fully...
Well, I'm on the camp. Grandpa Joe was a dick, so, that was just...
He was able to get out of that bed for a ticket to the chocolate factory. Just weird. So, that going a little off the reservation on that, because I think we wanted to actually talk about classic television.
Yeah.
The passing of our iconic actor there, thespian of sorts, that went into law enforcement, Eddie Haskel. So, I remember we were talking about you and William Shatner, and you had a weird bond with them. So I know that you grew up listening or watching a different sort of TV that we were probably watching over here at the particular time, and everything that you were watching was dubbed in Spanish, so that even made it weirder. But what are some of your favorites? What comes on TV and it's just so nostalgic that you have to watch it, or it brings back such wonderful memories, etc., etc.?
Oh man, there were so many. And most of them were from the 50s and 60s, And I didn't get to watch a lot of those growing up. I caught them actually when they were in reruns, had been in syndication of some sort, TV Land or, late night TV or whatever. But I remember Father Knows Best. That was The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. For me, was one of the funniest shows because of Ricky. Ricky Nelson always stole the show for me.
Well, Ricky Nelson was a showstopper anyway.
Yeah, he was. And
Ozzie and Harriet, weren't they kind of, quote unquote, the iconic? They were probably the 50s answer to American Gothic, I'm thinking.
I think so.
Kind of Lucy and Ricky, though.
That was, for me, that was one of the fun shows. Father Knows Best was great. And there was one that was a little difficult for me to understand, my three sons, because I was one of four daughters. So it was kind of difficult for me to see a widowed man with three boys and everything, and like almost no female interaction in the show. But it gave me a good insight on guys. It really did, even though it was obviously set back a couple of decades from when I watched it. I still learned a lot about how guys think, so that was actually pretty cool for me too.
That is interesting. You learned the male psychology from a sitcom.
Let's face it, you're not simple. It's true, and we love them for it.
You know what I really, really miss is when Nick at Night. When I was obviously an '80s baby, grew up in the '80s and the '90s, but still, when I was a kid, I was so familiar with everything. Bewitched, Car 54, Hogan's Heroes. I could go on and on, but everything that was on Nick at Night, they were still playing the great stuff, the Dick Van Dyke Show, all on Nick at Night. And, now, when I turn on Nick at Night, it's Friends. Isn't that some bullshit? It makes me feel just uncomfortably older than I should, because Friends has replaced Bewitched on Nick at Night.
I have an unpopular confession to make. I've never actually watched Friends.
How can you survive this?
I know it was really weird, but I was actually, my job was, I was in sales and retail, so Thursday nights was when I worked. And so I never got around to watching it. And then it came out on reruns, and I'm like, okay, the reruns are on at 10 a.m. And I'm no longer at home to watch them either, so I never got around to watch them. And I realized they're on Netflix or Hulu or whatever, but, I don't know. I might get around to watching it one day. perhaps.
Honestly, I was not a fan of Friends. They were a bunch of assholes that had money and I didn't. And they had a cool apartment, and they're obviously gorgeous people, and being like a 16-year-old male, and I'm still growing into myself. I was pretty dorky in high school. I was kind of like a Gilligan from Gilligan's Island. If you can imagine that with a pocket full.
That was a great show.
It was a wonderful show.
I loved it.
Oh, man. Yeah, I want to go back to Gilligan's Island, but the Friends thing, it wasn't my bag. I mean, Jennifer Aniston, she's way hotter now than she was then. And everybody just seemed, it almost seemed kind of contrived to me, and I just didn't dig it.
One thing that a lot of people don't, most guys wouldn't know, is when Friends got popular, so did the hairstyles that the girls had on Friends. And I remember going to get my hair cut, and the gal there was saying, hey, you should get a cut like, and I think, Monica Chandler was what she said. And I said, who's that? And she said, Courtney Cox. And I'm like, why would I want my hair cut like hers? Because I didn't know. I had no idea. I wasn't watching the show, right? And so she pulls out People magazine, and she says, look, don't you want this haircut? And I looked at it, and I said, well, it's cute. And she says, it's on special. And any other haircut that you wanted was like a fixed price, but that one, they added like $15 to it. And I was like, well, wait a minute. Why are you charging more for this haircut?
Monica tag.
It was popular.
No. Everybody did the Jen Aniston cut, too, from Friends. In fact, I think it actually evolved into what we know today as the Karen cut.
Yes. I'm so glad I avoided that haircut.
You're fortunate. Your life could have been a lot different than it turned out. My manager right now. And speaking of managers, I think we actually have a special guest at the bottom of the hour, or the bottom half of the show. You want to give a little teaser?
You can.
Well, Aggie has convinced me against my better judgment to invite my girlfriend onto the show to tell all kinds of juicy expose secrets, and then I guess they're going to talk about food. So you guys have that to look forward to after we come back from break.
Yes. Actually, under the guise of, talking about food traditions, because she comes from her heritage is Mexican and my heritage is Puerto Rican, so, comparing and contrasting different traditions that we have. Now, having lived here for so long, I've actually embraced several Mexican and Mexican-American traditions myself, but, I'd like to share that with, from her perspective, too, so.
You certainly currently reside in a very Hispanic culture that's almost like a cradle. But what's funny is, I'm not going to name names or areas that we're at, but I'm from a very Hispanic area of the United States, too. But our two little Hispanic cultures are very different from each other.
They are. And what a lot of people don't know about this area in particular, and for those listening that don't know, I live central South Texas, so in the San Antonio area is the closest area to me. That Hispanic hub was actually not founded by Mexicans at all. It was founded by Canary Islanders. And a lot of people don't know that. I was shocked to find out that I have relatives that founded this place. And I'm like, how is that possible? Well, my relatives in Puerto Rico came from the Canary Islands as well. And so my ancestry actually shows people that came and founded this area. So I thought that was really cool when I found out, but, they don't know me, so I just left it at that. But, so there's a mix of the Spanish and obviously of the Mexican, and then you have, the American tradition, and that just gets into this whole mixing bowl of what I like to call Hispanicity. So it's really cool.
Does San Antonio celebrate anything about the Canary Islands at all within their city's culture?
It's really funny, but not that I have seen. I know that Because these missions were founded by the Franciscan priests that came from Spain and the Canary Islands, they do have some days of observance at the missions for that, but the city as a whole, most of it tends to be more Mexican-oriented than Canary-oriented, I would say.
Well, you guys have Six Flags there, and that kind of all of the different flags that Texas had been under at one particular point or another. So, is there any nod to the Canary Islands in the Six Flags scheme?
No, because it's part of the Canary Islands are part of Spain, so it's just a Spanish flag that flies. So that that's pretty much how they keep it.
Get props. Wow, so we really went on a segue into that.
Totally.
Wow, we were going from TV shows to that. Do you have any last?
And we were supposed to go back to Gilligan's Island too.
Gilligan's Island was probably my most favorite show, and I know going back into that conversation is a little disjointed, but who gives a shit? This is our show. We can do what we want. Right. Nobody's the boss of us. Maybe somebody might be the boss of us. But Gilligan's Island was awesome. I loved everything about Gilligan's Island. I still can watch Gilligan's Island to this day, and even with all of the campiness and just the cringeworthy cheese, I still enjoy it tremendously.
It's funny because not too long ago, one of the Harlem Globetrotters, Curly, passed away, and my dad actually called me up to let me know, and he said, "Remember him from Gilligan's Island?" I said, "Yes," because the Harlem Globetrotters have done a Gilligan's Island movie. He was in it. That had been my introduction to the Harlem Globetrotters, believe it or not, that movie. So, Gilligan's Island actually has been part of pop culture for decades. I don't think it's going away.
You see it's starting to fade a little bit, but it's still there. It's still there and it's alive. Did you have a crush on anybody on the show?
The Professor.
Oh
my word, yes.
Girls, Professor.
But that was because he was so smart, and he was always coming up with all of these neat contraptions and stuff. But honest to God, I either had a crush on him or wanted to be him because he was just that smart.
It is very psychologically interesting.
Yeah, I know it's kind of weird, but it's true.
Wow, we could probably make an entire show out of that.
Yeah, really, that's not.
I mean, the Professor could make anything. You're like, oh, I made this nuclear reactor out of a couple of paper clips. What? What are you going to do? Rubber band.
And I like that he would use the coconuts for like reception. And I don't know. He just did all sorts of weird things.
Well, everything that was on the island that you would think would be on a tropical island, stereotypically speaking, was used in the Professor's shenanigans and inventions. Coconuts, bamboo, tiki stuff, all that cool stuff. And it was so cool. And then of course there was Ginger and Marianne.
My favorite thing, and even when I was young and I was watching it, was how Marianne barely ever changed her clothes, but Ginger always had a different outfit. And I'm going, it was a 3-hour tour. Why the hell did she take her entire wardrobe with her?
Well, so did the Howls. The Howls
took everything with them.
Yes. They should have been lucky to have a day bag or a purse.
Right?
Let's pack up from the hotel that we're staying at and make sure that we have an entire set of all of our personal belongings and untold amounts of luggage on this little tiny boat for 3 hours.
Oh yeah, it was such a fun show. I even watched the cartoons too.
Wait, there was a cartoon? Yes. There was a Gilligan's cartoon?
Yes, there were. There was a Star Trek cartoon as well.
Oh yeah, that's another discussion that Remind me to tell you about William Shatner and his balls. We'll talk about that one later.
I can't even, okay.
But that shit was hilarious. But, you know, I started watching a sitcom the other day, and this is related to the television stuff. And it was that Last Man Standing with Tim Allen. Mm-hmm. So it's a conservative theme show, which I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on. I really don't want much politics in my entertainment. I really wish we could just keep entertainment kind of sterile from social issues and all of that other bullshit. Because I just want to be entertained. Forget we as a people, we want to be entertained so that we can escape our realities. I don't want to jump into an escaped reality and then have people talking about issues and bullshit. But that's not really what I'm trying to make with this point. Last Man Standing, I thought, was a wholesome show, and it, you know, whether or not I agree politically or not, or you agree politically, whatever the case is, it was still good entertainment, like Home Improvement was.
Yeah.
And I had realized that over the last, 10 years or so, I think that I'm getting so fed up with the over-sexualized, the hyper-violent, and just all of this cringe television that we have around us 24/7. 20 years ago, regular TV was pretty benign, and then when you got into the primetime slots, that's when you started to get into some of the violence. But I think it's just gotten too crazy, and I found myself, and I know it's crazy saying that Mickey Blowtorch is sick of sexualization and violence and whatnot, because don't get me wrong, I love it. But I think there's a time and a place for it, and I just don't want it in my face.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
There's a weird stuff happening, and tonight we are joined with a very special guest who I'm kind of thrilled about, because it just so happens this is Mickey's better half, also known as Lolo, and she and I will be talking about, well, we're going to talk about Mickey because we can.
Hilarious. She's not on call yet. Let's not before the part.
But you know this is going to happen.
I'm regretting this already. So.
Oh, it's going to be painless. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid, you know?
It's like you're waxing a hairy chest. I'm just freaking Kelly Clarkson.
Yes.
Well, this is also our every other episode we'd like to do a happy hour. So we've been drinking considerably through this entire show to include our pregame. What are you drinking tonight, Aggie?
I am drinking a mojito. I had a shipment from Imperfect Produce, and we had limes in it, and we decided, the royal we, decided that this was a night that called for mojitos. So I made mojitos from scratch. The only regret I have is I did not have sugar cane on hand, so that I could make the authentic way.
I've never had it with sugar cane. Where'd you get your mint? Are you growing mint, or did you already have some?
I do. I have a little mint growing here. But no, I remember when I was growing up, my uncle would actually go out to, he calls it the backyard, but what it was he has like an hacienda, and part of it, he grows sugar cane. And so he would go and, with a machete and just whack one down and bring it back and chop it into about, I want to say 8-9 inches, and then strip the outside, I guess, bark off, and then use that to make the mojito, and they were always so good.
Would he wear one of those, like, Ayurveda shirts, with, like, the 6 pockets?
Yes.
A hat?
Duh. We're from Puerto Rico. Guayaberas rule, man.
I've got several of those shirts.
You do?
Oh, yeah. My girlfriend says I'm Latino. And speaking of, let's just go ahead and get her in here. I'm going to place a call. See if
I can't wait. I honestly cannot wait.
And it's great.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Lolo.
Hey, Aggie.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm super excited and nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous. This is our chance to roast Mickey.
I'm ready.
Well, we've got that bottle of tequila downstairs. You can take a shot if you really think so. Get rid of those nerves.
I don't want to get rid of too many secrets.
Oh, yeah, let's not drink them. Perfect. Brilliant. Everybody, this is my girlfriend, Lolo. my wonderful girlfriend who puts up with a lot of crazy shit and still manages to like me. And she's been the object of a lot of curiosity with the folks of Twitter. And Aggie has been very curious, too. So without further ado, Aggie and Lolo.
I am so happy to have you on the show. I have been, looking forward to this since the last show because it just makes him so nervous.
Good.
I told him I'm not going to embarrass you much, and I'm not going to grill her much, so don't worry about it.
Ask anything.
Well, he did say, pretty much everything was open, and I remember one of my favorite things that he told me about was you guys dressing up, and you looked like, I swear to God, you looked like Peg Bundy, and I was in love with that picture. I fell in love with you that day. I was like, this is so epic.
That was so much fun. I looked like Peg Bundy with snakeskin shoes and snakeskin pants. It was so much fun.
But sitting outside in front of people, that was great.
We made a lot of friends.
I'll send you the original and the art recreation if you want to post that in the room. I'll put it in our little our DM there if you want to do that.
Actually, you can. There's a link. Just hit the little paper clip, and you can add the pictures if you want to in the chat at KLRNRadio, so people can see.
Oh, okay.
If you want to. Yeah.
You just made it more complicated, but that's fine. Just kidding.
But one of the things that I really wanted to talk about was because you're Mexican heritage, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I'm Puerto Rican, so we have, when it comes to food, that's how our family speaks. You know what I mean? We speak with our food. We feed and feed and feed people. And I mean, we look for excuses to have a party to feed people. We really do.
Yes.
I mean, growing up, every Sunday we had to go to my grandmother's house, and she had 9 children, and their children would come as well. And all of the women would be in the kitchen cooking all day. And we were there for dinner, but we would get there after church at 9:00 in the morning because they had to cook all day. But I mean, that was a tradition that I grew up with. Was like every Sunday we went to my grandmother's and everybody got fed. So and I've seen it in a lot of my Mexican American friends.
Oh yes. We have with my family on Sundays as well. It's always family day. We used to go to my great grandmother's house, but our family was much smaller, so we only cooked maybe 3 hours. Not all day, but I remember every Sunday was always family day.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad that it's not something that's translating a lot lately, because I see it kind of a lot of Hispanic families are starting to drift away instead of staying in the same neighborhoods or even the same city. With my family, my parents lived south of me, 4 hours south of me, and I have a sister that lives 7 hours north of me, a brother lives 5 hours north of me, and another sister that lives in Virginia. So, that whole Sunday thing kind of died off as we moved away. But when we get together, it still happens.
Is it Christmas now when everybody comes home?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And then there's the fight.
Yes.
Then there's the fight because eventually somebody's got to say, "What the hell do you mean by that?" And then it breaks over. And then once the fight is over, then everybody eats. So.
Then everybody can be comfortable again and just get rid of all that tension.
I thought it was just my family, but apparently not.
Well, me and my siblings as well. My brother lives in Dallas. My sister lives in, but when we're all together, it's like we're children again. We have to fight, and then we're okay to get along again.
Oh my gosh. My sister came down from Virginia with her daughters, not this past weekend, but the weekend before that. And my two other sisters went down to visit, and I went as well. And sure enough, we weren't in the same room 20 minutes. Not even 20 minutes before one of us got mad at another one for something. And I'm just like, oh, thank God, it only took 20 minutes.
You say what you need to say, and that's it.
Yeah. So okay. So this is interesting because a lot of people are asking questions about what I should be asking you about Mickey. Okay. So these are some.
This is not going to end well.
Shoe size. That's the first one.
It's got nothing to do with wiener size. I'm just going to say it right now.
Oh, shoe size?
Yes.
I have no idea. I mean, huge. Big feet.
No.
Very big feet.
No.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, dude, she's a keeper. Okay. Next one, boxers or briefs?
Oh. Briefs.
But they're not tidy whities.
No. We actually showed them to each other, I think, on one of our first dates.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah, because I had the same question.
Oh my goodness, you're kidding.
We played Truth or Dare.
In the backyard.
Backyard.
This is so great. I'm crying.
Stop it.
It's a good question. It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. That's funny. I don't want to ask this next one, so I'm going to skip it. I'm going to flip-flops or Birkenstocks.
Who's asking these questions?
Theoretical Squid and Anita Samore.
No, longboard shorts. Longboard shorts.
Shut up.
Dang, too bad. Okay. So, oh my goodness. This is a good one. This is an interesting one. Jade East or English leather? And I doubt that a lot of people know what Ron is talking about, but
So English leather's a cologne, but what was the other one?
Jade East. It's an old one. It's really old.
Oh, no. Clinique Happy for men.
That is correct.
The best ever.
Which
Which
one?
So nice. Clinique Happy for Men.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Amazing. So good.
I gave that one to my brother, and my sister-in-law really liked it, too.
Yes.
Did your brother get
I'm sorry, but men are really difficult to buy for, especially if you're related to them. So, I gave him cologne one year, and I took a chance on that one, and apparently that was a hit. So I was like, yeah, chuck up the wind.
Oh, it's good.
I also gave him a Leatherman, and he was like, what am I going to use this for? And I'm like, seriously? What are you not going to use it for?
The Leatherman's like the pliers with the screwdriver and every flashlight and everything.
Yes,
right?
it has everything on it. And I'm like, just keep it in the car. Just keep it in the car. You'll use it. Trust me.
It's true, he will.
And he's a landscape architect. I'm like, how do you not use a Leatherman?
A lot of people would be surprised to find out that you don't follow me on Twitter, babe.
No, I do not want to know what goes on the Twitterverse. I occasionally you tell me things, but I do not know. Nothing. And that's just a trust. I trust you will not make me look dumb.
No, I will say this. Mickey behaves really, really well on Twitter. He really does. I mean, I'm not kidding. He's not mean.
Uh-huh.
He's always funny. Oh my God, he's always funny.
That's the point, to have the freedom to exaggerate or whatever.
Do you know why I followed Mickey? I was, I think he liked one of my tweets or something, and I was like, Mickey Blowtorch, who would have that name? My God, whatever. So I went to his timeline, and his pinned tweet cracked me up. I was like, oh my God. The whole thing about John Stamos, having a picture of John Stamos.
Yeah.
I was like, anybody who would actually make this request deserves to follow.
I was like, why John Stamos out of everybody in the world? Why Uncle Jesse?
I was hungover as fuck when I was making those reservations. and what was I going to do? Ignore a personal request that Marriott is asking? Of course not. I was going to exploit this to the best of my drunken hungoverness. And I still have the picture. I'll post it right now in the chat as soon as I can email it to my other computer from my phone, and it gets all complicated from there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I saw that tweet, and I literally laughed so hard that I was crying. I could not. I was laughing so hard, and so I said, "Oh my God, I gotta follow this guy because this is just too funny." And that's how we started following. And then, of course, we started conversing because he made a mention about Top Gun, and another unpopular confession: I've never seen Top Gun, and he freaked out about that because he. Okay, and I was like, dude, don't judge me.
Have you watched it?
I've yet to watch it. I've never seen it. I know. I'm such a heathen. But I have other good qualities. I cook.
That's all you need. I
have a mental block when it comes to Tom Cruise. I just don't like him. I really don't. And it's a big conflict because I love Val Kilmer, and I think that's the only movie I haven't seen him in, I haven't seen him in it because of Tom Cruise. He totally ruined everything for me.
Listen, when it comes to Tom Cruise, and I have the same problem because he just really got fucking weird. And I'm silly now. But I segregate him in my mind from awesome 80s Tom Cruise to what he ended up with. Because, Risky Business is a great movie.
I will admit I have seen a couple of his movies. But I think Risky Business was one. Legend was another one.
Legend was a great one, yeah.
And what was the other one that I saw?
Interview with the Vampire.
No, I never saw it. I refused to watch that movie on principle.
He had to pick the most unpopular. I like Interview. I'm just going to say that I love Interview, but
okay.
it's so.
I have a story about that movie. I used to work for a company that sold videos. It was a subsidiary of Musicland Corporation and Musicland Group, and it was called Suncoast Motion Picture Company. And at the time that I was working there, they were filming Interview with the Vampire, and Anne Rice was not happy with the casting choice. She thought Brad was fine. She thought Kirsten Dunst was fine. But not Tom Cruise, because in her mind, she fashioned the vampire Lestat after Rutger Hauer. She really wanted that look. And then when she saw the mock-ups for Tom Cruise in a blonde hairdo, she was like, what the hell are you giving me? But then she admitted after she saw the screening and everything, she thought that he did a good job. So I if she liked it, that's all really that matters, because it was they transferred the book into the film, and it was her book. So as long as she's satisfied, then I'm sure that the movie was great. But I just, I remember her saying Lestat was supposed to be somebody like Rutger Hauer, and I'm like,
I can't.
Yes, that would have made so much sense to me.
Really? But Lestat was so much. I mean, Rutger Hauer is a great actor. Don't get me wrong, and rest his soul. I think he passed away last year.
He did. He passed away.
That was a big blow. And he was so celebrated too. But he was just never. He was always the character actor. He had those monumental movies like Lady Hawk,
yes,
Blade Runner. And that scene in Blade
Runner was actually his. In my opinion, what he did in Blade Runner actually defined him as an actor because he actually ad-libbed a lot of the last scene.
But he never made it out of that character acting. He was always just Rutger Hauer, and he was so much better than that.
Yeah, he was.
But I can't see him as a Lestat because Lestat was so rock and roll. And actually, when they did Queen of the Damned and we had Stuart Townsend as Lestat,
oh, dear God.
I'm not a fan of that. I mean, even though he went back to the Rock Empire.
What are they doing?
Yeah. I thought Tom Cruise had that je ne sais quoi and that debonair, kind of like the shit that I roll with.
I just remembered the third movie I saw him in. Tropic Thunder. And that was my mistake because I didn't know that was him.
Lolo loves that movie.
That was a great movie.
What do you like, baby? Tell us what you like.
I love Tropic Thunder.
It was good.
Why do you like Tropic Thunder so much?
Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but the Tom Cruise with what was his name in the movie?
Oh, I don't remember.
Les something. But he was such an asshole, and then that dancing he does.
Oh, and the DMX dance.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
And he was all like short and hairy, and he was just like big dick energy.
I didn't say that reminded me of you, did I?
No, you say that I look like Matthew McConaughey, but then you say that all white people look the same.
No, it's not true.
Wait. Mickey looks like Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah, and he talks like him, too.
Really?
Right.
Oh, you guys got to come and visit me now.
She says shit like that, like I look like Matthew McConaughey, and then go back and say, all white people look the same. So that doesn't really help with my esteem.
You're bad. No.
That is hilarious. But, you still look like Matthew McConaughey, so that's a good thing, Mickey. You got that going for you, and that's nice.
Once in a while I see it, but I don't know. I can't claim that.
I don't know. We had a thing, we were trying to figure out. My sisters wanted, like, I don't know. They were drinking one night, and they were playing that game where, what celebrity lookalike are you, or whatever, right? And, one of them was, one of my sisters actually looks like this, she's very dark complected. So she looks like this Indian, actress, can't remember her name, but she looks very much like that. And so they were all fighting over who looked like who. And then my youngest sister, I guess, she has no filter. She looks at me and says, "You look like Carol Burnett." And I'm like, oh, okay. Carol Burnett was pretty, whatever. It's like, and then she looks at me like Eunice. I'm going, oh, okay, it's on.
I was watching some old Carol Burnett. It's on broadcast television over here. I bought one of these little antennas for when I get bored with cable, because a lot of broadcast channels are absolutely gold. And I was watching some old Carol Burnett, and I didn't realize how absolutely pretty she actually was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, she wasn't pretty, she had beauty.
No.
There's a difference, you know what I mean?
Pretty though.
But I always thought that she was, and but when my sister said like Eunice, and I'm going, I did the Eunice eye, and I looked at her like, what do you mean? But But that was another show of the golden age of TV, even though it came in towards the end. That was absolutely awesome. It was the Carol Burnett show. So I loved it. And I got to see, just reruns of it. But
yeah. Well, I was raised on reruns. I was raised by the television. I was a latchkey kid and got home from school, and we only, for the majority of my life, we only had broadcast TV. We didn't get the fancy cable TV until I was 16 or 17, maybe. So I would watch everything that was being broadcast, and then that's how I got exposed to a lot of those shows. And I think that that really had, I don't know. I'm rambling. It's the beer.
Y'all can wrap up whenever.
Well, it is now the top of the hour, so I guess we should end up wrapping this up. I want to thank my special guest, Lolo, for joining us. It wasn't so hard now, was it?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. Thank you, Aggie.
So that means you'll come back, right?
Damn it.
Anytime. Thank
Yay!
you.
Yay me! Poor Mickey.
I can see how this is going to end up. She's going to end up with the co-host, and I'm going to be homeless. The Lolo and Aggie show.
I still owe you a table. I still owe you. Can't be homeless. I still owe you a table, remember?
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about that.
Yes. I don't know if you know this, Lolo, but he told me that he uses a TV tray as his end table or something.
Does he?
The TV dinner tray at my recliner.
Oh, yes. Yes, he does.
And I told him, dude, no, that's not happening while I'm alive. So I have to actually paint an end table with a nautical theme for him. So yeah. So when you guys come down, bring a truck.
You got it.
Because you're gonna have to take it back with you.
I never told her that you do the furniture restoration. When we get offline, send me a few pics so I can show Lolo.
Yeah, sure, I will.
Totally did.
Yeah, that was the whole thing, and all he said was that it has to have a nautical theme. So I'm like, damn it, I have to learn how to do a compass rose by hand. Great.
That'll be great. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, and hope to have you back soon. And Mickey, where can we find you?
You can find me being absolutely badass as a motherfucker on Twitter at Mickey Blowtorch, as usual. So that's the only social media that I am on.
And you can find me at Aggie Rican or at Aggie the Barkeep, in case Twitter decides to suspend me again. And you can find Mickey and me every other Tuesday here at 9 p.m. on He Said, She Said. I'm also here every other Tuesday at 9 p.m. on A Podcast Divided. And also you can find me Friday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern with Chick Chat, joined by Lou and Hetty. And so you guys, I hope you have a really great evening. And thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night.
Thank you so much, guys, and good night.